I like to think each film is custom made. The director obviously dictates the sort of approach that I have, because everybody has a different working style. Some people want to talk intensely about shots and intensely go over references and talk visually about things. Some don't talk much at all, you know, and they concentrate on the performances and they give you an overall sort of broad idea of what they want the film to look like. So for me, I just have to evaluate. My first approach is to evaluate that. You start that maybe in the interview process, but you also in preparation. You know, you just learn as much as you can about the director. And it just informs how I prepare in pre-production. If I'm lucky, I could shape a visual language off of some kind of inspiration. But the director definitely dictates, you know, how I do it. When I work with Darren Aronofsky, it's become much easier because we're so familiar with each other. Bradley Cooper on A Star Is Born, I'd never met him before. I didn't know anything about him. It was a lot of listening and hearing him. And then developing a relationship was most of the preparation. Because you want to be comfortable with somebody when you're actually in the thick of it. You know, he was able to act in a scene and evaluate other performances in scenes that he was acting in. And he was able to peripherally see where the camera was. He very rarely, if any time, actually watched playback. You know, he was he was very trusting. Like, he'd see the camera out of the corner of his eye and he knew it was in the right place. He sort of just transitioned into directing so easily. I think it's a lesson for cinematographers and directors to be able to simplify things. Especially on your first film, it's so hard to put it all together. Why would you try to make The Matrix? You know, why would you try to make Godfather? You know, you just got to make the story happen. And he was focused on that, and it made it easier for him. He was ambitious, but he didn't play outside of his skill set. I tried to simplify the things I did. Just the lighting was broader, it was less precious. The palette was pretty simple. I tried not to complicate too much technically. When you have a first-time director who's also acting, and then you have another actor who's a first-time actor in a feature film, that's a priority. That's the thing to take care of. That's the thing to sort of nurture. So me adding more complication technically, trying to impose a will, it's not going to work. Obviously, she's done so many music videos, and she had done television. So she's keenly aware of the lens. She's keenly aware of her key light. When I say I simplify things, it still had to be, you know, I'd block things so the light was facing her, you know, in a way that made her comfortable and she felt safe. It was a safe space for her to explore her character. Once the camera was rolling, both of them it's like they've been doing this for eons. And obviously he has, but she's a natural. It's amazing for me because you're watching somebody who is so famous and iconic, but she's able to tap into somebody she used to be. And that's cool. It's cool to watch. Most of the dramatic scenes were single camera. They ended up being single camera because, you know, whether it was handheld or steady camera on the movie, we always wanted the ability to transition from one of them to the other or change the idea. Like if Bradley had an idea, it's like, you know what, just be on her now. It was because he was going with whatever was hot at the time. If she was great at the time, the camera would focus on her more. Or consequently him. Like he's like, I can get this in 2 takes. And we'd be on him and get it done. Or we'd transition at a moment. So, you know, we just kept the camera fluid that way. I use Cooke anamorphics, yeah. Some lenses, like these, you know, they give you different looks at different stops. So it's a lens that performs very well as a kind of a workhorse because the color rendition, the sharpness and everything is very modern quality. But then you go wide open and I'm on stage, or I go wide open and there's lights in the shot. All of a sudden there's another characteristic. And we tried to accentuate some of the flaring. So when I would shoot them open, they became like another thing. It's a beautiful set of lenses. I mean, there's a couple shots in the film that were shot on the 32 and the 25. I mean, I was amazed at how flat they were. You know, I look at a 40 Tadeo or a 40 Kawa and it's bending. Yeah, I put on the 25 Cooke and it was flat. All of them perform really well. At the very beginning of the film, there's a shot of her, she's breaking up with her boyfriend. Then she comes out and you look at this floor, it's a checkerboard floor. I couldn't get wide enough on the 32 and I put the 25 up. And I couldn't believe how flat it was with no digital augmentation. You know, I used it a couple times only in small spaces, but it was remarkable. I approached the film differently than I approached other films, because just the language of a movie, I usually think about it aesthetically from the beginning, And this one was more of a pragmatic decision of trying to keep the light broad, and everything's kind of born out of needing to make Jackson Maine a real character. Because we started in Coachella. The first thing we shot was concerts. We shot one dramatic scene in the first week, which was the diner scene. After that, we were on stage. So that kind of informed the whole movie. I mean, the momentum, the pace, the style of shooting, handheld, Movi, Steadicam, dolly, whatever we were doing was all dictated because we hit the ground running on stage. And once we got there, it was like we were sprinting, trying to make it happen in the first week. And then when we got to the second week, it became easier, and it kind of informed palette, it informed camera language, and that sort of. So yeah, it was developed and changed. It altered because we didn't go specifically into shots. Bradley and I. He had moments. There's specific moments that he knew he wanted to do and how, but in large part, we'd sit on set, work out the scene together, and just with no anxiety. He was very relaxed. This is amazing. It was a fun atmosphere for me because we could show up on set and create, rather than creating a bubble in preparation when you don't even know what the scene is, which is 9 times out of 10 now.